So thanks a lot for the invite. Yes, I have some experience from different positions, different companies, and I've been with Novartis for 7 years. Started in ERP, worked to compliance, then shifted to TechOps, and now I'm in TAD. But working for TechOps. My responsibility is product delivery lead for some innovative cloud solutions, and you'll see some more about that in a moment in the manufacturing space in Novartis. So my customer base is basically the Novartis TechOps employees, and we have about 50,000 of them. So that's one challenge, at least, to make everybody happy. I don't think that's so easy, but we're doing our best. And my job is basically to progress some of these digital products. And what I'm going to talk about today is how did we do that? We're on a journey, so we're by no means finished, but we're in the middle of it. And I'm happy to share some experiences about what works and what did not work, at least for us. I will also say a little bit about how it fits into the Novartis culture, because it works for us the way we have done it in many respects, but it might not work for you. So it has to fit into several aspects, I believe. So this cultural aspect that was mentioned before about the Industry 4.0 is important, I think. This about the freedom that you can do things on your own is also quite important. So I will say something more about that. For us, it's fitting because our cultural values is to be inspired, curious, and unbossed, and the way we have done it is matching that. The case I'm going to talk about is called Spot On, which is an initiative that we started in summer 19. Basically, we talked to the manufacturing organization and asked them, are you happy with the IT support you're getting? And they said, in a way, yeah. I mean, we are getting SAP to manage the logistics, like we just heard. We have a similar solution in Novartis. We also get manufacturing data. We also have this and this and this, but we're not really happy. So we kind of asked them, well, what is it that you want then? Because we're doing our best, you know. And they said this, just mentioned here, we want to have connected data, things coming together, having transparency, so we can see how things they really are. We can learn on the insights that we get, and then we can make decisions based on it. So this is how this whole thing came about. And we said at that time, I was also involved in the project in 19. We said that's a little bit vague to develop some IT based on this. We need to go a little bit more in depth about what is it that you want to see, how is it that you want to act, and what insights do you want to have. But they said that they wanted to do it in a very agile way. They want to run basically the development. And we liaised with Amazon Web Services in a strategic partnership to support all this. We set up a lab, you could call it, where basically we first connected all the people. And here you see the people in our organization. And as you might know, Novartis is big, 120,000 people. So it can be difficult to really find out who's who and who is important to get into this. We decided to run it as a global initiative. So we had strong sponsorship. We had the CEO as sponsor. We had the digital officer as sponsor. So we have gone big on this initiative. I'm sitting in the lower right box, as you can see there, the TAD. big data and analytics. So we have something we call 3-in-a-box concept. So it's the IT organization, it's the Amazon organization. So we have just as many on the Amazon side helping, and we have the digital office. So these three, we're kind of the team delivering all this in a concerted way to the manufacturing organization. And we have a global organization and we have a local organization. So I think the team is very important. So we had some discussions in the beginning about how do you make a team for this, because you could easily make 50 people, right, assigned to all this. We decided to go for a 2-pizza team. So basically, the guys in the team, there should be, you know, the 2 pizzas should be enough for them. So 6 on the Novartis side, 6 on the Amazon side. That's it. And that was actually quite a challenge to identify who would those 6 then be, because you're always short of something, right? You're short of either cloud technology, user interfacing, I don't know, but there are many disciplines, many technical disciplines in play here. So, so that was the first hurdle. We then also wanted to work in an independent way. So we wanted to have freedom. We got the freedom. We don't follow the SOPs like we heard before. We got the authority to move fast, but we also got very stretched targets to deliver fast and in a continuous way. So we then decided in the team how do we want to progress, and basically said we want to fail fast, we want to learn, and we want to have a close collaboration. And these are key elements. Here you can see a little bit about the setup. Instead of having a normal hierarchy way of organizing a project, we have done it in this product-centric way. So people that are delivering this stuff, they're working on this and this alone. They're not 20% on something else or 80% on something else or whatever. There is a core in the middle of key people delivering this, and then there are some interfaces to, say, the rest of the organization. And this makes it possible to deliver really fast if you have the key competences in that team. So you need to have somebody who can develop, somebody who can say what is good and what does good look like, and somebody who can also facilitate, say, interface to the rest of the organization, because we still have to have it working together with, say, other products in Novartis, with the rest of the organization, and so on. So what we decided was to work in this product agile way. And here you see some of the outcomes. This is basically statements from the team that we're working on the business outcome. This is the important part here. We have, I think, mindset says can do, so things happen pretty fast, actually, in comparison to what I've been used to before. We are empowered to fail, so we fail all the time, it's no problem. We are in the same team, we are together about this, and we're focusing on moving fast. And moving fast in our world mean deployments every month. So every month we come out with a new release. We find it important also to have a strong stakeholder commitment, and this we also have, and we're really listening to what it is that they're saying. So the way, I mean, it's not like we've been developing since summer 19. As I said, in summer 19, we said we need to know some more information about what it really is that you want as a business, as a customer. And we got a list of pain points, as you can see in the left there, some post-its. basically saying we don't have transparency about what's happening on a site. We don't have transparency about what's happening in the supply chain. So basically from a product perspective between sites, so the way we're planning our production orders, the way we are doing logistics is suboptimal. So even though the demand at times are pretty stable from the different markets, we still somehow manage to make it very, you could say, complex and very stressful. So we want to have an overview of the full supply chain. So these were the two main pain points. Then wireframes were made, basically some mock-ups, and then some prototypes, as you see, were made. And this took about half a year. Here you see the timeline. So the first top line there is 2019, and nothing was really produced other than screenshots, but nothing really worked. So then the ECN, that's the Executive Committee of Novartis, said, cool, give us it now, but working. So in March, we started developing the first prototype, and we started with something simple, basically showing how is it going in a site. And it took us 3 months to develop that product. So it came in June. Then in August, we got the next release. Then in end of September, October, we deployed to a second site, as you can see in Schaftenau in Austria. Then in November, we have a new release. In December, we then have 3 sites. And that means we are basically deploying one solution, but to many sites. So that's scalability in one direction. And at the same time, we're also adding more functionality, as you can see in the bullets. And this is an advice I will give to you, that you should try to make solutions that can be scaled in that way. And I don't know if you know how many sites we have, but I can give you a short overview here, I guess. There we are. So in the sites we have, I don't know how many it is, but say about 60 or so. And the ones we are focusing on at the moment are the large molecules. And the reason for it is this is where the value is. We will move to the small molecules next year. We will also go to Sandoz, of course, and all across. So we still have something to do, I guess, going forward. So now, as I said, what the NTO, what the manufacturing organization said in the beginning is they just wanted to have consolidated data on a daily basis. So before, there were people at the site sitting and calculating the KPIs, doing the planning, all this stuff on a monthly basis. So if they said, if we can get it daily, that would be cool. So we said, okay, let's get the data out of SAP. They're anyway in there somewhere, but makes sense out of the data, combining the data together and show them. So this we did. Then they said, hey, we want to see what's happening, not every day, but every 30 minutes. So therefore, we had to integrate to MES systems, OCPI systems, to show what's happening on the shop floor on a batch level, line level. Then they said, we also want to see where's my batch and what is happening with the batch that we have, say, deviations and things like that. Then we built a genealogy model that's basically combining different data that we have from our track-wise systems that handles deviations, things like that, from our QC labs, from our production sites, the MES systems, and the SAP to make insights out of combining data together. And then they said, now we also want to have predictions. So that means getting live data. So with about 1 second delay. So what I want to show here is that we didn't think about that when we started in the beginning of the year. It was a journey. And I think at least we have learned as an IT organization to be very agile and very flexible, because these demands are coming, and then you have to somehow adjust your architecture, you have to adjust your skill set, right? You need somebody who suddenly can do streaming in the development team, then you need to integrate your new systems and things like that. So it is really challenging to run projects like this, but it's also fun. And as I've mentioned here on the left side, now we're talking about making digital twins, which I think we also talked about earlier today. So, as I said before, we had the spreadsheets. Now we have an application, and it's pretty, simple, I guess. We can have a look. So now I hope it works. So I guess you can see my screen. So this is the application in the current version. So this is the version that's coming out beginning of December. And these data are coming from our source systems. These are not all working, but it's enough to show basically the idea. So this whole design of the front end and the way that we have organized our data is defined together with the business, and it has taken a long time to build this insights into to the you can call it to the application. So the way it's organized, you can see the production units, you can see the working lines, and you can see both for manufacturing, QC, and QA. So that gives a full overview of what is going on in a site, for instance, Stein. You can also, if you want, you can sort based on a specific production unit. You can also sort based on brands, for instance. So all the brands that are produced in this site are listed here. So you see them here. So you can select one brand and look, and then you see the KPIs. And the beginning, as I said, was they just want to have an overview. So that's basically the KPIs. So like on time in full, production schedule, performance, and other KPIs. So these are now developed, they're in there. And what you can also see here is then the batch list. So basically what is being produced. Oh, sorry, just a second. It's tricking on me. Here you see the different batches that are being produced, whether they have deviations. And this is coming after the first KPI was developed. Then they said, we also want to see our batches. Then they said, we also want to see a timeline, for instance, when are things planned to be produced. Then we developed that. Then they said, we also want to see predictions, like when can we expect a batch to be finished? So then we build in artificial intelligence to predict when batches are going to be released, which also shown here in the Gantt chart. So as you see, nobody said anything about artificial intelligence in the beginning of this journey. It simply comes and you just have to follow. Seen from an IT perspective, as I mentioned before, it can be difficult. So this is the first architecture we had, pretty simple. So moving from SAP into our business warehouse, moving to a data lake, refine the data in SAP, move them into Amazon backend in the cloud, do some manipulation, put them in a relational database, and show them in the front end. So this is basically what you saw for the KPI part. I think this was not the biggest surprise ever. I think that went pretty okay, and we were not super concerned about it. It was more like when we wanted to get closer to the shop floor, for instance. So for instance, we will also, this is a demand coming from them where they said we would like to have data from the shop floor, from the fermentation tanks. This is an API side. We would like to see the cell density, because this is a critical parameter when you are fermenting. And basically being able to decide when to stop a fermentation. So we connected to these data. We get something like this out. And you could say, well, we already have process control systems that can do this. So what is really the benefit? I think the benefit is that we get data in one system. We can actually do better predictions here. We have built prediction models based on this. So we, at a very early stage, after a day or two, can predict the time, the fermentation time, when we should stop, and how much the yield is going to be. And this is not possible today with the current process control systems. So just trying to say that when you are going big on data, you also get a tool set that in some ways are superior to what you have and can expect from local systems. See, now it's getting more complicated, right? So here you have much more boxes, much more complex setup. And this is the journey that we went through, where it was said, we need predictions, we need this, we need that. And then you add more and more to it. So in the beginning, it's simple, but it can turn pretty complex. I will not walk into details about this one. You don't need that. But more say that the scalability, as I said, is important, right? So we had a platform in June. We started with the on-site product, which I showed you before. Now we have another product which went live a good month ago. We have one going live in 2 weeks. We have the one view. This is the one that you, Sharon, I think alluded to do supply chain planning and logistics. So this will come beginning of next year. So it's like, seen from my chair at least, it's like exploding at the moment, simply because the demand is really going up. So this is another way of showing that for one product, the scaling, both vertically and horizontally, we're doing scaling. And our architecture, as I showed you before, it's a serverless cloud architecture. So we don't have to think about the volumes. We're not buying new servers. We're not scaling. The system is scaling, which is nice. We are applying artificial intelligence, as I said. We are doing it on the assets, on the site integration for IoTs. We are doing it on the inventory optimization, how much we want to have in stocks. We want to also automated quality review. So basically, can we release a batch based on the batch records, deviations, and so on. I showed you briefly this about the real-time cell count that we are using artificial intelligence, and the batch production process duration. I also showed you in the batch timeline. So the things are coming as we move along, but it's not like something we plan. It's coming based on the demand. And as you can see, the vision is to build up a digital twin. So this is now what the business is talking about. They would like to be able to simulate new products, moving products from one side to another side, and say, what would that mean? What could be the capacity of that side in case it produces this product, and things like that. So what I want to show here is basically how we have tried to align the strategy from the business, which is on the left side. This is the NGO strategy, and the technology trends that we are working on in IT. And these are fitting together. So it's not just about starting something and see how it goes. I think you have to manage the technology, and you have to make sure that these things are fitting together. So for instance, if we talk about the technologies, you can see here on the left side, the enablers here that we're working. And then for the manufacturing area, this is my area, so to say. You can see where we are applying new technologies and how we are trying to manage all these technologies. So we are using, as you can see, many of the same things that you heard about earlier today and yesterday, but I haven't had the time to show you all. So I just selected that one column there, the manufacturing performance. So the way we are doing things is in this agile way. So as I said, we have this team with the key persons, this 2-pizza team. We are doing developments. We have one release plan for all the products. We have a very small footprint. We don't have an operation organization. The developers, they're also supporting the application. We have an automated pipeline. That means basically that the time from we're developing something until the business can see it is very short, 1 day. So after a developer has developed something, he can see it with production data the day after. The releases takes us about a week or so to deploy with formal testing, IQ, OQ, PQ testing, all this stuff, you know. Our sprints, they take 2 weeks to do. This is what works for us at the moment, and our release, as I said, is 1 month. So we have 2 sprints. And as I tried to show here on the bottom, at the same time as we're developing the existing products, we're also starting up new products in the bottom by making these discovery workshops to onboard new sites or to develop new products like the supply chain product that we're starting now. So I think that was all from my side. I'm sorry I ran a bit over time, but I think there are still 3-4 minutes left for Q&A.
I think you're good on time, Jens.
Welcome.
Thanks again for this nice presentation.